listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I sound a bit 1920s...
You sound all right, but Emily has taken her microphone out and she's holding it like a football pundit.
Fell off.
It's like she's pitch side at the rugby or something.
You know when you get those 1920s vocalists who use a loud hailer?
Yes.
You're driving me crazy. I sound like that in my own headset, but it doesn't matter. As long as you people at home are having a lovely morning.
You sound good.
It's not about me.
And I've got my microphone. It's back in its case now.
Back in its proper place.
It was like I did grab it like Glenn Hoddle grabbing a microphone.
Filling.
In that memorable moment, Frank, when... what happened? There was some sort of electrical storm during an England game.
Enormous rainstorm in a... it's an England friendly, and...
Adrian Chiles,
Glenn Hoddle, and...
Ian Wright.
Was it Ian Wright? Oh, yeah, Righty.
Yeah.
Was in a small room somewhere sheltering. And there was a terrible point where Glenn Hoddle started talking and he was holding an imaginary microphone. Glenn Hoddle went air microphone,
Excellent.
which we've all done it, but not normally during a sports interview.
I've done that occasionally at stand-up gigs when there's no mic. If there's a tiny crowd and you end up catching yourself doing that, you feel a fool. You do feel that.
Tiny crowd? No microphone?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Lower league gigs. You know the lower league gigs.
Am I in some post-apocalyptic...
I am.
Well, I once did a dinner at Leicester University staff lunch. And,
I wouldn't knock Alan.
A lot of
in that case.
And they, was, I think in the end, after they'd gone off Christmas shopping, there was 9 people around the table. And I said to the bloke, do you still want me to do this? He said, do you want to get paid? I said, I'll do it. And I said, I still want a microphone. So I stood at a table with literally the furthest away person was 6 feet away, and I still had a microphone. It's just security more than anything else. And also it can always double as a weapon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fend them off a bit.
Yeah, well, that's... I don't know. Remember how we got to that?
Well, I've just read an email that I think I should bring to your attention. Frank, I know that since turning 60 you've been offered pieces of advice about what to expect, but have you been warned about cardigan whiplash?
Oh, what's
You're
this?
moving from one room to another. Cardigan whiplash, wasn't she that woman with the red hair that used to be in those adult films in the 1980s?
Phone box windows.
Oh, she's the sort of person that would be in the Daily Mail now.
Cardigan
with her
whiplash.
boyfriend, Taylor Lautner.
Anyway, he continues, I'm assuming it's a he. Yes, it is. You're moving from one room to another and your cardigan pocket catches the door handle and pulls you up sharp.
Yes! Sorry.
Unnerving, to say the least.
I've never had that.
I've had versions of this with different garments.
That so many times. Mm-hmm. What about, I've had that with a waistcoat, like a woolen waistcoat.
This is a calling from Top Cat. What else could Top Cat have it with, other than a waistcoat?
I just did a very frank thing, which was bang the table with laughter when you said that. No, I'm doing myself a disservice with the waistcoat. It's more, how can I describe it? A sleeveless cardi.
Okay.
When that catches on the door handle...
And what was that, a pocket
I virtually end up on the floor. No, it's an oversized armhole, Frank.
Don't ever call me that again.
Not on air.
Sorry, my hearing's not what it was. I'm definitely not oversized. I've lost a lot of weight.
That's what they were saying to each other, those boxers, in the run-up.
But speaking of door handles...
yeah?
Now we're on the subject.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to...
Excellent.
Door handle escutcheons. What happened to them?
What's that?
What are escutcheons?
Escutcheons are they're plates that used to be next to the door handles, like decorative plastic plates to stop you getting dirty finger marks on the actual door.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't know those.
You don't remember door handle escutcheons? Yeah, she was in EastEnders.
I was going to say, who is this? Is this something you had in Birmingham growing up?
Well, everyone had them. Because you could remove them when they got very...
Can I just make that absolutely clear? We did not have those.
Okay.
What era are we talking? Like if it was...
70s, I would say.
All right. I was going to say if it was an absolute decade, what would
It is an absolute decade.
Absolute
Well, I think
decade.
I believe the absolute decade stations are based on real decades. They haven't taken like one from 87 to 95 and made that a decade.
I maintain that they should be doing topical material for the decade on
They've
the decade stations.
absolutely gone completely route one on the decade things.
Yeah.
They've just followed the, is it the Gregorian calendar or something like that? Yeah, they're big Gregorian calendar people, the absolute lot.
They are. That's true.
People always say that. The Sonys, people went on and on to me about it. I mean, it's not, I don't make the rules.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've got a little bit of, I believe Elvis used to refer to it as TCB, some business to take care of.
Taking care of business, okay.
Yeah. How would you describe the tone of some of these communiques?
Oh, I don't know which one you're going to read. I've been
some of them-
scanning through a few myself.
There's some correcciones, I'm going to call them.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Frank, you were talking about finger plates.
Well, you call them finger plates, I call them escutcheons.
Escutcheons.
Let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah,
Let's call the whole thing McCutcheon.
Yeah.
Escutcheons
yeah.
are the round plate that surround the keyhole.
Oh.
Oh, is that
Perdantes of Birmingham. I like her.
I'm not completely certain that she's correct. Is it? Are we calling
She's calling herself pedantic, which is a humorous female name,
Oh, okay.
and a play on the fact that she's being a bit pedantic. I assume.
Okay. She's calling herself what?
Pedantic.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah.
I'm holding out for more information on that.
I was
Oh,
quite
I'm holding out
pleased.
for a hero.
I was quite pleased to
Yeah.
have the word escutcheons brought into my semantic field.
I'm holding
now,
out.
now I've got to have it in a holding zone where I'm not quite sure that it's the right thing that I'm going to be saying it with.
And how do you feel about using it again, Al, in conversation? I don't know about you, but I'm lacking...
Trepidatious.
Well, it can also be used. An escutcheon is also a plate, like an engraved plate on
Why is
something.
this call my bluff?
Yes. So it's a African pipe. It's a hat worn in bad weather, or it's a small house shared by the elderly. Frank Muir. Well, I think I've heard this word.
I think
Yes.
you've done a Frank Muir on the show yet.
Well, he doesn't get a lot of call for it these days, to be fair.
My Frank Muir.
What decade station's that for?
That's what I'll be opening my next tour with, my Frank Muir impression.
Good luck, everyone.
It's called Frank Skinner, Hands to the Escutcheons. It's going to be the tour.
Nice.
I still think that those plates that they put by door handles to stop you getting fingerprints on the door were called escutcheons.
Well, she says they're finger plates. and
oh,
they're
let's
escutcheons.
call the whole thing scuffed.
Well,
Yeah.
on the subject of possibly tetchy correspondence, but I don't think so. Maybe
No,
just
I don't think... If it was a she, we're still
Yeah.
not sure.
maybe information gathering this
Okay.
one rather than tetchiness.
Okay.
I did my Friday night troll. You know, I look at the texts and emails that we receive on Friday
yes.
night.
Yeah, he loves a troll.
Here's one. Hi, Frank Skinner. Why do you end the show with the phrase, bring on the feathers? It means nothing to me. Might I suggest the phrase, this is the end of the show, as more comprehensible and informative sign-off? Sincerely, 751.
I love it. Means nothing to me.
Yeah,
Major.
yeah.
It's all gone a bit Vienna.
It sounds. Well, this is the end of the show. Sounds to me like we're never coming back.
True.
And
True
also,
dat.
it does have... Well, do you know where Bring On the
I
Feathers
do,
comes
yeah.
from?
It's a quote,
I should
isn't it?
say that
Explain.
Mariah Carey did a New Year's Eve show, I believe in Times Square.
Correct.
Which went very, very badly. And at the end, she just said, "Oh, bring on the feathers." And they brought on those big feathered fans that women sometimes dance in and out of.
Yeah.
So it just feels like that thing where just get me off.
Yeah.
Was the thing. So that's why we use it. So it's Mariah in its in its origins.
Yeah.
And I'm always happy
It's
to.
sort of like a Mariah Carey version of Start the Car, isn't it? Like the old school comics would say. Like,
Is that what they
Yeah.
used to say?
yeah, that sort of thing.
I used to like Milton Berle, if he did a joke that didn't work, would say, "Now here's another joke you may not care for." I love it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I was when
Alan.
I.
Go on.
Oh, sorry.
No.
When I was
I was doing That's Life thing where you go over to them. Alan.
And now Jake Thackeray.
Frank.
Brother Gary.
Oh, I like a Jake Thacker impression.
Good. Give some women the ghost of a chance to talk, and thereupon they'll go on again, on again, on again, on again, on it. Anyway, stop doing Jake Thackeray, Frank. That's my note. I was being driven in this morning.
Yeah.
It was a lovely sunny morning.
Good
it was
for you.
Yeah, it was about 10 to 7. And I passed, I think it's some sort of underwear outlet on Regent Street.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Okay. And it's had a big sign in the window that said Panties Week.
Oh, gross.
And I thought, when these themed weeks and days started, there used to be things like, World AIDS Day, stuff like that. Feed the World.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like
International Women's Day. Now it's panties.
Yeah. Quite. Yeah, and now it's Panties Week.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when I was driven in last week. Oh, I was waiting for you to say good for you.
Oh, I don't want to spoil you.
When I was driven in last week, I went past the same shop, and it turns out it was Panties Week last week as well. So even
Panties Week every week round
here. They're not
here.
even properly observing the duration of a week.
Oh.
No.
I just felt I wouldn't shop in that shop. I'd like to go in and say,
guess what? I'm relieved because you've got no business in that shop.
I could get gifts for a loved one.
Don't
tell you
buy
what you don't want to get
the
from
panty
there.
shop for people.
Well, if I'm not going to buy her panties in panties, whoever calls them panties anyway outside of adult cinema?
Creeps.
Yeah, creeps.
Anyway, it may or may not be Panties Week. So if you're thinking, if you're one of these people who for a while have been thinking, shall I get them panties or put it off? Go this week. I don't know what you get with Panties Week.
Well, I think it's very difficult for men in those shops.
Well, it is.
Because they get dragged around, and when you can't go in on your own as a man into those shops.
I think you could Panties Week. I think
Special dispensation for Panties Week.
I think it's like sort of open day. That's the idea.
So you're saying
of it.
you'd go in and then you'd get a strange look and you'd go, Panties Week.
Yes. And they go, of course, sir, that'll do nicely, sir. Yes. I think it's, you wouldn't normally come in, but it's Panties Week. Come and have a look around. Don't be self-conscious.
They don't stop you going in on your own, do they? They haven't got security.
No.
They don't stop
you. I nearly
but
said bouncers there.
Men look very sheepish, obviously, because it's you don't want people to think you're a filthy creep, especially if you are a filthy creep.
But, anyway.
I mean, can I just say you are not a filthy creep, nor is Alan.
Whoa, a little quick addendum there.
Very few men are.
I'm going to wait till Bra Week, nip in there. Maybe Teddy's Week I might go in.
Teddy's?
Oh.
Yeah. Will there be a Teddy's Week? Is there a chemise week?
I don't know what shop they're talking about.
I don't know. I think it's negligee day. When's negligee day?
I don't know, but all
June?
I'm saying is don't go in during thong week.
No, I won't go in thong week. It's I don't like. They put up a beaded curtain, especially.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
I just had a moment.
You're all right.
I was talking about when we met Anthony Joshua.
This is my moment, Martina Escutcheon.
I just said I thought he was the best. Look, I'm losing my voice with excitement. It was the best physical specimen I've ever seen.
Why is it all right for women?
women to say that, and men can't say it.
Yeah. It's all right saying it in that voice doesn't make it right.
You've had it your way for 2,000 years. It's our turn, baby.
Yeah, it's not really. That doesn't make it right.
All right, well, I'll see you on Loose Women and we'll discuss it there. Anyway,
I agree.
I've got a lovely picture of you and Anthony Joshua.
Don't slag us off and then be the bad
you
side
off.
of
I'm
us.
saying how much I love Anthony Joshua.
Yes,
I won't have a word said against him.
Can I move things slightly sideways to
yes.
terra firma?
Go on.
Firmer the better. Hi. Hi. I said you what I said, Steve. Firmer the better.
Outrageous.
Where are you going?
Steve
now.
Steve, get us a coffee. Where's he going? Where's Steve going?
I hate that though. That get us a coffee. The anger in the request. That
Get
just
us a
made me feel a bit
coffee.
angry. Dear Frank Ems and the Cockerel,
Hi.
I write to you from France, where my daughter has just started school for the summer term.
Lovely.
She's 9 and loves you all. I'm not meant to read the bit about praise. At her new school, the cook is rather wonderfully named Madame Fromage.
Lovely.
I wonder if any of your readers have similar examples of nominative determinism in other languages. Bon samedi.
Wow, that's a text and a half.
Isn't it?
Nominative determinism in other languages.
It's a bit of an ass.
Oh, that's
But we'll
complex.
Throw it out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, we've had another international text, Frank. I was email actually. I was listening this week and lolled at the bit where Frank confirmed he wasn't Annika Rice.
Well, I thought it was good to clear that up.
My Japanese wife, who knows I listen to the show, heard me laugh and asked what I was listening to. She said, "Is that Skinny-san?" She calls everybody San, but obviously misremembered your name slightly. However, I thought you might like this new Japanese handle, especially since you don't have any anymore, Frank.
I do like Skinny-san.
Especially since you've recently joined the world of the skinny. There you go, Skinny-san.
Skinny-san.
I'm going to write it down. I like it.
We don't need to. We've
That was from-
laminated a name badge for you already.
I
Yeah.
bet she'd like Annika Rice.
That was from Bearwood.
Bearwood.
No, but thanks for the tip.
Ah.
Yeah, Bearwood. That's
Oh,
from.
okay. Bearwood for shoes. That used to be the local slogan.
Yeah.
Oh, they had a lovely Freeman Hardy and Willis.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. You could get a nice cheap work pair as well. They had about 7 shoe shops.
Yeah?
I'd say it was over 10% of their shops which
Really?
sold shoes. What about that?
Amazing.
It's a
Yeah.
bit like Hatton Gardens and,
Yeah. Jewellery.
precious jewellery. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a shoe ghetto. Sometimes I get trapped in a link. I'm damned if I can find
What
a
are
way
you
out
going
of
to
it.
do? How are you going to get out?
There's always a way. What about a big hand for the police?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I went to Cliveden at the weekend.
Where's that?
It's a sort of a stately home.
Oh, dear.
Oh, you know what? As I said, where's that? I had an awful feeling that it might be like a festival or something.
Well, I'll
but I
tell
just
you
didn't
what,
know
you
that.
might have heard of it, but you might
Coachella
have
or
heard it
something.
referred to by its proper name, which is Cliveden.
Clifton.
And, yeah,
Spelt Clive.
Frank says Clive Dunn as an homage to Clive Dunn. It is, in fact, Cliveden.
Oh,
I've heard of Clive
sitting
Dunn.
here all
Did-
day.
Jake Thackeray, Clive Dunn.
Well, I'll do them all.
Frank, did
What
you
decade is
know...
Don't forget Frank Muir.
Right, I forgot about
It
that.
is a somewhat confusing pronunciation. Did you know? You were put right on the pronunciation of Cliveden.
Well, actually, on Monday I do an art show on Sky Art. It's very popular, and one of
From
the
the
judges
slums of
very. I
Bristol.
tell you what, one of the judges very polite. I tell you how she corrected me. I said, "I went to Cliveden the weekend." She said,
Oh, I feel a wince every time you do it.
and she said, I think it might be called Cliveden," as if she wasn't sure either. Instead of being like you did
Yeah.
and shooting me down in
We would all
flames.
seize that moment, yeah.
I know.
Don't shoot me down in flames this close to the Red Arrows dream I had last week.
Oh,
but
by
anyway,
the way, can we just open a tab on the browser and keep it open?
yeah.
When you mentioned the Red Arrows, Ross Noble, friend of the show, has been in touch about the Red Arrows. We'll come back to that anyway.
I'm happy to go
You
there
wanna
now.
do
We
it
can
now?
always come back to Cliveden.
Frank, please stop doing that.
Okay.
It upsets me. Okay, so we were talking about the Red Arrows on the show.
I had a dream last week.
Yeah.
I had a dream.
Yeah.
Not of such import.
No, I dreamt about the Red Arrows.
Okay.
I was surprised by the Red Arrows. That was.
And you started a text in saying, has anyone ever been surprised by the Red Arrows?
Yeah.
Expecting Nout.
There's quite a few.
And we had
A
quite
lot of
few.
people that live in Lincolnshire where they practice seems to have been
Including...
I just don't like the idea that they practice.
You don't like the idea
glad
they
they
practice.
practice.
You
I
think
just
they
don't
should
want
just
to-
have a roll of the dice.
I don't want them to practice over my garden day one.
Well, Ross Noble, who's a friend of the show, he says, read the arrows. I was in
He
the
might as well put the D on and gone the whole hog.
Yeah. I was in the middle of an off-road motorcycle race. Of course he was,
yeah.
because he likes this. When who should appear above the trees? That's right, the big, smoky, supersonic nacho that is the Red Arrows.
Ah.
By the way, the Australian version of the Red Arrows are called the Roulettes.
Oh.
It sounds like a
Sounds like the Skinnerettes.
Tanglemoto act.
Yeah.
He also says...
I wouldn't want to join an aerobatics team that were called... What's the Russian aerobatics team? Are they called the Roulettes? One of the planes doesn't have that much petrol in it. Wow, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. And his fave single-letter name is R. Kelly.
Oh, good.
Okay, just so you know.
Yeah, we asked famous people who had one initial name.
And Frank was really proud of his.
I was so proud of mine. Do you know what? I lay in bed that night thinking that was such a good single initial name. It was H. Samuel, if you missed last week's show. But to me, it's got everything.
If you missed last week's show, he's going to keep going on about it.
You brought it up.
I did, you're right.
You don't need to download it. I'll tell it again.
Exactly. It's not even a joke as such, but there's something so intrinsically comic about the whole concept of H. Samuel that just to say it makes me happy, and I think makes a lot of people at home happy as well. Happier than jewellery ever made anyone. What about that for a statement?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So,
Clifton.
I'm going to say Clifton, if you like. You know,
What do you mean if I like?
I'm flexible. Never be said that I'm not flexible.
Okay, Descartes.
Hey.
The other thing about Clifton...
Why, Mariner? We've all got things wrong on the show.
Well, I like that we're all even.
Yes,
perfect.
I wouldn't put Clifton up there with Descartes.
No, me
But,
neither.
What about Why Mariner?
Why Mariner, I think, was a good... It felt like the sequel to Moby Dick. Call me Ishmael again. That opens. I'm still called Ishmael is the opening sentence to Why Mariner. Anyway, the other thing about Clifton, which I didn't know, because we took about a dozen kids there for the day, me and several parents from my son's school, is that it was where the Profumo thing happened. The big scandal in British politics in the
60s, I think. Yeah.
Where which involved two
Ladies of the Night.
I suppose we can call them that, although I don't know what their hours were.
That'd be a good bit of memorabilia.
I think they
in
were
and out
quite,
cards.
They were on. I think they're on flexi time.
I don't know what they did, but
I don't know what they did.
I shudder to think.
I mean, that's been pretty well charted, actually. But
I know what they did.
It's not charted on breakfast radio. I'm very happy to say. I'll have to come back to this because we've got important, responsible things to go to, like the news, and more importantly on commercial radio, the adverts. But it's all going to happen. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. God willing.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner, some might say, on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, text us on 81215 or email us via what we like to call the Absolute Radio website.
I like the idea of you finishing every song with guitars and singing.
Well, they're not all, I think they're up-fronted, aren't they? Anyway, listen. Listen. I was at Clifton.
Yes.
And
Gareth Williams has tweeted us to say Clifton, where Joyce Grenfell spent a lot of her childhood.
Is that right? I didn't know
was
that.
one of the Astor family.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was their manor, I believe.
Is that
Nancy Astor?
Were they Gauls?
No.
No, I don't think they ever risked the Gaul, did they? The Astors.
Anyway, as you were.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Astor risked the Gaul.
Very good.
It was. It was such hard work, and for what?
Yeah.
Stony Ground.
So anyway, yes, we'll come to Stony Ground in a minute. But I'll tell you something about the Profumo affair. Mandy Rice Day.
Late review.
Mandy Rice Day. You heard it last here. Mandy Rice Davis. Was one of the girls. She was sort of the cheeky one. Christine Keener was sort of the slightly elegant, mysterious one.
She was a sort of sultry
and she was a bit... You'd want Barbara Windsor, I think, in 65 if you were going to cast her. It's been cast, of course. Yeah. Anyway, she said, someone said, well, Mr. Profumo denies all these things. And she said, well, he would, wouldn't he? Well, he would, wouldn't he? As is in the Oxford Book of Quotations.
Wow.
No, it's never struck me as an absolute belt. It's not like, when a man is tired of London, he's tired of life. Well, he would, wouldn't he? But there it is. And
I understand why it's in there.
Do you?
Well, I think, wasn't it the fact
better things than that every day.
I don't think the phrase in itself was witty, but I think it was the fact that she was breaking down the entire system, perhaps.
Well, maybe.
Okay,
maybe
thank you. Standing up for Mandy Rice Davis, though.
I don't think it's up there with Where Real Music Matters, for example.
No repeat guarantee.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's two biggies.
Or may I throw in Football's Coming Home?
Well,
Thank you.
Boz said to me, my 4.5-year-old, for new readers, said to me that there's a picture of him and he got his Hulk pyjamas on. And he said, that's me inside my pyjamas.
Lovely.
And now I've started saying that. I've started using that. I'm just going to get inside my suit.
Nice.
I just like the idea of it.
In a way,
It's
we are
true.
inside our clothes.
What are you in? What are you going to be inside at the party tonight? Which is, actually, I have been asked that, but that's a different. Ow! The other thing Boz said
Good luck
to
with
me.
Panty Week, everyone.
What about this?
Panty Radio.
Panties?
Don't correct me
Yeah.
on panties.
Well, look, I've seen the poster. Have you seen the poster?
I think Panty Week sounds
I'm
a
just
bit
saying I like a singular panty.
Panty Week sounds like running. Encourage people to
asthmatic.
jog.
Yeah.
Or maybe taking the dogs out.
Yes.
Why not? If you
never
like
know?
taking their dogs out, why not listen to Emily Dean's podcast when she interviews celebrities taking their dogs for a walk?
Yes. It's good.
Oh, Frank, you've done me a little shout out.
I
You're
have.
such a pal.
Buzz said to me, we was watching the telly together, and they said, now tomorrow's weather. And he said to me, how do they know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow? And I thought, yeah, you're right. How did we ever fall for this? They have no idea how it's going to be tomorrow, and they are constantly getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just still trusted them, and they're the innocent of the child. Just said, no, how do they do that? That's ridiculous. And he's right.
Did he
Yeah.
say, well, he would say that, wouldn't he?
He didn't say that. No, he's
Okay.
not. I haven't told him about Mandy Rice Davis yet.
Huge gaps in his knowledge.
Doing
Although you know who
age-appropriate
does like
history.
Mandy Rice Davis? The woman who called me Skinny Sad. This one's for her.
Morning Tokyo,
Come on, let's see you singing at home.
happy to be seeing you.
What are you? Oh, I understand. Yeah, so it was.
Oh, Skinny Stan.
What ought to be in the Oxford Book of Quotations that isn't?
Oh, what quotes that we should put
The
in there?
quotes that one hears and you think, actually, I like that.
Well,
Well,
I remember Terry Griffiths got knocked out of the snooker. He'd won it the year before, and he went out in, I think, the second round. And he said in the interview, well, there's a certain beauty in defeat.
yeah.
And I thought that's much better than well he would, wouldn't he?
yeah.
Well, I'm always a fan of Tony Put the Ball Away,
Oh, yeah.
which I believe
Addo.
was said to
Addo.
Tony Adams by, was it Lee Dixon?
Lee
Frank?
Dixon said it when we were at a dinner, and we were just having dinner in a restaurant,
Yeah.
and it was my fault. I kept asking Tony Adams about football, and we were with a lot of non-football-y types, and Lee Dixon said, Addo, put the ball away. So, yeah, that's better.
I like to think that sums up. It's a rule of thumb for don't bring your business into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I just think, don't alienate people by
Yeah.
talking about your specialist subject.
Exactly.
Don't put the TARDIS away, Kat says, or do put the TARDIS. Oh,
Yeah.
forget it.
Oh.
Can we do that again, Steve?
Steve, I think
Live?
he's still getting that coffee you shouted him for
Live?
ages ago.
What would I say to you
Live,
two?
you say.
Ow! Put the jester's hat away.
But I tell you what they have got at Cliveden, which I enjoyed, a maze.
A maze. You
Oh
like
yes,
a maze,
there's a lovely
don't you?
maze there.
Oh, it's a good maze as well.
Yeah.
How high are the hedges? Is it a hedge one? Is
They're
it?
hot, properly hot. You
Oh,
can't just pee here if that's what you're thinking.
I was thinking, I'm tall, I could just leap.
Anthony
Oh,
Joshua would have
squiz.
no problems with that one.
For
Yes.
6.
Yeah.
Well, it was what?
Oh.
Okay, so the producer's giving me a big wind-up, get on, and no one cares about Maisie's kind of a sign.
She didn't say that.
She's got that permanently prepped. No one cares about mazes.
Frank, she had that
Laminated
bad
it is.
experience in the maze that we don't talk about.
I'm thinking of building one in my garden.
A maze?
Yeah, I might start a hedge fund.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So,
Clifton.
what they don't have with the maze, everyone's eating cake. We got sent some cake by the cake tasting club.
Nice.
Doesn't fit with my regime, unfortunately, but
No.
but the rest of the team have loved it.
We're
Yeah,
loving it.
I'm enjoying it.
They listen to the show, apparently, the cake tasting club.
I've got a caramel chocolate chip brownie right
Four
now.
people. Yeah,
4 in the club.
I think it's 4.
It's like some East London trendy band, the Cake Tasting Club, isn't it? They'd all have beards.
Like,
Does
what's
sound
that
like-
one, the bicycle
Oh, yeah.
thing?
Bombay Bicycle Club.
Get out.
They're the ones that
Okay.
I sent loads of people to from my gig. I told you about this. I was doing a festival and there was a band playing in a marquee tent next door, and I went,
Okay.
"This is a good
Marquee
band."
tent. Is he in the 4?
I said, "Who's this?" And they went, "Bombay Bicycle Club." And I went, "Why are you all here?" And they all got up and went.
Yeah,
Stupid.
I packed out a large venue at the Greenbelt Festival and
sorry to hear that.
realised it was raining. Stopped raining and I lost about, let's say, a third of them.
No.
Frank,
There
you
you
know,
go.
you were talking about initials. Nugget has said, rather surprised Frank's favourite single initial name, which we were talking about last week. Nugget says he's surprised yours isn't R. Keith.
Oh, yeah.
there you
yeah,
go.
but don't see it isn't really R. It's like a sort of a... Yeah. Anyway, what they don't have in the maze there is one of those people who sit on an tennis umpire's chair
Oh.
with a loudhailer. Now, I've mentioned these people before, and I think they've gone.
Oh.
I think that the maze instructor
Yeah.
is one of the unnoticed casualties of austerity Britain.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gone.
Well, it's good that we've got a campaign. We've been looking for a campaign, haven't we? So-
Well, you know what's going to happen?
We can back that.
Nothing's going to be said until someone gets lost in a maze and
Yeah.
starves to death.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there'll be a panorama about it.
Investigation.
And then they'll say, we've got to get them back. But why not get them back now and prevent that tragedy?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
So we got through them. I just followed, which is what I normally do in life, as
Did you,
know.
follow the bear?
I just followed others. I put my head down and followed. I can get lost
Yeah.
in a pomegranate.
You in a maze really concerns me.
Those chambers do all look the same, those yellow chambers. if you really get your face down deep into a pomegranate,
I never do that.
I'd totally lose my bearings. You know, where's the volcano end? I ask myself. Because I'll tell you something now, when you eat a pomegranate, and there's a little tip for the people at home.
Yeah.
I'm a slicer, right? Go down the middle of the pomegranate. So
Right.
I've got one half's got the volcano,
Yeah.
the other half's just that sort of a navel type bit.
Mm-hmm.
The lines of seeds
Yes.
on the non-volcano bit are higgledy-piggledy. They're all over the
Oh,
place.
really?
You're picking here, you're in,
Yeah.
they're out. You have to get... I've used a pin before now and took them out individually.
It takes a long
But
time.
when you
that.
get to the volcano end, nice, neat ranks, like the terracotta army, the red seeds.
May I...
So if you're sharing one with a friend,
Yeah.
I know this is a bit sneaky,
What a lovely night out, sharing a pomegranate.
but you keep the volcano end, give them the hard work. You deserve it.
Good point.
Yeah. They're little...
Chef's privileges, that's what they say, isn't it?
Is that what they call
I'm
it?
really
Yeah.
impressed that you have the confidence for the pomegranate preparation, which I don't.
I was about to say, may I give you the tip? Chop it in half and turn it inside out and just whack all your seeds into a little bowl and there you are.
Or, here's another tip, go to a restaurant and order one. Much better.
You can't order a
Yeah,
pomegranate.
I'd love to pay
I
£8
can.
for a pomegranate.
I was once in a South African hotel when Arsene Wenger ordered an apple with a knife and fork, and sat and ate it with a knife and fork.
Frank, put the ball away.
Eh? I know, but come on, eh? But hey, the chickens have come home to roost now.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we haven't done this morning. We have a new regular in our show, don't we?
Oh yes, we just started. Actually, shall we kick off? I've got a jingle up my sleeve. Here we go.
Some of them did fall on stony ground.
Yes, now this is an item. I'm currently doing, in case you didn't listen last week, I'm currently doing a live sort of comedy show. Use the word sort of on ITV on Tuesday nights.
Actually, very good. Yeah,
Thank you, darling. You're very supportive.
Oh, I love
as ever. But anyway, inevitably on a live TV show, when you're doing jokes...
Some of them did fall on stony ground.
Some of them do fall on stony ground. And I thought what would be interesting for the family on this show, and I include our regular readers in this, is to identify my biggest failure of the week.
Okay.
Are we doing it from a long list or from a short list? Have you identified...
what about when he asks me what I think? Or the Stony Ground, and he says that was a really brilliant joke.
Yeah, well, but it's not about. It's about the response, really. Because I mean, I like to think, almost certainly erroneously, that a great joke can still get a very poor response.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no, that is not erroneous.
Is it not?
I think that's an accepted fact amongst comedians, certainly.
Oh, well, exactly. I thought it was erroneous Tosh, who was one of my favourite artists.
Yes,
well,
lovely work.
I can exclusively reveal extracts from the WhatsApp messages between myself and the producer during the show.
Okay.
At 2020, Daisy WhatsApped me and said, "No Stony Ground so far, ...
That's good. That's 20 minutes in.
I think
That's
I'd
amazing.
said that, sorry, and Daisy replied, "He's doing well."
Nice. See? Lovely. I would... my nomination is... One of the questions... Well, in case you don't know the show, and most people don't, let's face it, it's moral dilemmas is part of it, and then the audience vote on these moral dilemmas.
You get the app, which I've got, and you can vote.
Okay.
So... one of the things was you're sitting in a toilet cubicle and you hear your friends talking. They don't know you're in there, and they're talking about you and criticising you. What do you do? Do you sit there and suffer? Do you burst out and accuse them? Do you wait and accuse them individually? It's various questions. And I said that to me that it was that situation was basically Twitter. That I sit in the stinking cubicle of celebrity, being tortured by the unkindness of others. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Absolutely. I mean, if you could have... you can get, like, diet versions of things. If there was a diet version of silence... That was what it got. It was sub-silent.
I know what you mean. I don't feel that got what it deserved.
No, I didn't think it didn't rock it.
Do you think it got what I once worked with a producer who called it benign grinning? Like, do you think it got sort of silent laughter?
I don't think... I'd love to think it went internal, but I don't think it did. We're going to have to come back to this because I'm not done with it.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
We've actually just received a text, Frank. This is almost like developing Stony Ground news.
Oh, good.
It's a kind of meta Stony Ground.
Simon, the art dealer, has texted, "Frank, your erroneous Tosh / Hieronymus Bosch quip got nothing. Shame, it wasn't wasted on at least one of your readers."
Well, there you go.
I laughed at it. I remember laughing at it.
Was it this week?
It was just about 5 minutes ago, yeah.
Art dealers are getting it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think
Frank, I love your art dealer material.
Days?
Look, but it's a bit different on this show because we don't have an audience in here, obviously. So I'm guessing that everything I say is rocking the nation. But when you're sitting in a TV studio and there's people there, you've got a sample crowd, and none of them laugh, then you feel maybe no one laughed at home.
I think your hit rate was fairly high.
Oh yes, but
Look,
that's
we're not
lovely.
going to talk about that on this show.
No, we're only going to talk about the failures.
Now,
you see, the way I saw it going was this.
Yep.
This is what I imagined would happen. I imagined that when I said I sit in the stinking cubicle of celebrity, I thought there'd be a joke there that I'd have to quash in order to complete this. So I thought there'd be
the chuckles.
You know what we could do? We could We could maybe relive it for you
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you got the laughter. So let's
So
go.
what we want is after Celeb, I want to... and
But
then
you
I'm
can't
going.
direct it that much.
No, I think you can.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Whose name's on the door? No, look.
Fair
So
enough, okay.
so after Celeb,
Okay.
see, then laugh, and then I'll quieten you down a bit, and then at the
Okay.
end, I'll raise my hand, and you can give me the big one.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a bit like Twitter, really. I sit in the stinking oh no. I mean, it's live. The trouble, it's live. That's gone.
Live, you say?
Yeah.
Let's go again, Steve.
You see, it's like Twitter. I sit in the stinking cubicle of celebrity. no, but I am tortured by the unkindness of others. That's how I imagined in my dreams.
But I was the only applauder, can I say?
Yes.
The staff were silent.
I actually, after I'd said it, I heard a dandelion seed land at the other side of the studio. That was it landing. Should that again? And it was deafening.
Oh, right. Well,
It
do
was
you feel
all right.
better now we've redone it?
Yes, it's fine.
I've got Ross Noble has been in touch again.
Well, hold that thought, because I've got the little red fairs, and when the producer, in case you don't know, when the producer passes the little red fairs, that means shut up. So I'll be back.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
It's becoming a bit of a Ross Noble themed show this morning.
Yes, well, that's never a bad thing.
Well, exactly. But Ross has messaged me with his own Stony Ground moment.
Oh, okay.
And it's related to Don't Ask Me, Ask Britain.
Okay, Damab.
Damab.
Yeah.
So Ross begins. Hi, here is my Stony Ground moment. Rather like he's getting in touch with sort of Live and Kicking or something.
Exactly.
I tweeted Alexander, that's Armstrong, your host, Frank,
Yes.
of your show, to say I enjoyed the show. So he publicly tweeted this, Ross,
Okay.
and was pleased to see live comedy on telly. But I also said very much approve of the set and attached a picture of my set from one of my DVDs as a light-hearted gesture, drawing comparison between the two. Hopefully he didn't take this as a warning of upcoming legal proceedings, but as no response came back, I am claiming that it is not just Frank who lays in bed thinking about the show and Stony Ground. So Ross has said nothing.
So they're similar, the sets, are they?
Well, I've got a picture here, and it's basically the same.
Really?
Oh.
Well, now I'm on legal thin ice.
He's not going to sue.
Well,
He was making a light-hearted...
look, I didn't build the set, although I had quite a bit of input.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you know. you got to have a lectern if you're going to deliver a speech.
But it is hard when you make
Good show.
a little... You know, he was having a little bit of a joke.
Little bit
A
of
little
joke.
bit of a
Yeah.
joke. And then to get nothing. It,
Yeah, I
it
know
worries
that's,
you.
but Xander's probably worried about the legal implications.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I played a jingle for the Stony Ground section, which
Liked it.
Some people, it turned out, when we spoke during the music, some people on this show, Emily Dean included, and about what Alan thought
I'll
it
be
was
telling
some
you.
old Victorian number. But
That's
it's
exactly what I thought.
I thought it was an
actually-
old vicar.
It's it's actually me.
No.
It's not. Are you sure?
Honestly, let's hear it. I'll tell you what it sounds like it's from the past, is I left it on Daisy, the producer's answer phone, and said, can you turn this into a
So
jingle?
let's hear it, please.
Some of them did fall on stony ground.
Does not sound like you.
No,
That's
it's
That
a
great.
sounds like one of the earliest recordings of the human voice.
Yes, it is. Or something where one might hear at a seance
Yeah.
in 1880.
Yes, indeed.
Interestingly about it, I did a bit of a sneaky thing, I'll be honest. Because I phoned Daisy, the producer, and said, I wanted to this thing, I wanted to jingle. Is it all right to leave it as a voice message? And she said, no, in it, she said. She said to me, do it on, one of those voice
your
files
voice memo.
and send it me. I said, I don't know if I know how to do that. And really, I'd heard her voice message recently, and there was something on it I wanted to check. So I really wanted to have another list. So I said, look, no, let me do it on this. Don't answer. And what she says on it is...
I know. Go on.
Leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And when I first heard it, I thought, did she really say as soon as I can? And this gave me an opportunity to have another listen, and she does say exactly that, which I very much enjoy.
I mean, not only sneaky, but a meaning on the radio. You then give her a dig on the radio about a voicemail message.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can. It's like, I thought I'd got Liza Minnelli on the line.
Sean Connery.
I'm so sorry for your loss. But anyway, I then said, I left the message and I said, can you put a bit of organ music on it? And then Sarah, the assistant producer...
Oh, the trouble she went to.
They've been running around with that organ all week.
Yeah, So she found that I'd actually sung it spontaneously in F-sharp minor.
F-sharp major.
F-sharp major. Come on, make your mind up.
I can't remember. One of them.
Okay, well, it was in...
It's a live show, love.
It was in F-sharp, yes, gone now, that moment. We'll never get that back.
Wow.
So that's what they did. But it's a great jingle, I love it. And I love that it smells of embalming fluid, if you know what I mean.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you so much.
The thing I love about this, Link, is the power you wield. The power to get a jingle made and then to mock the producer's voicemail is just...
What about him sitting at home ringing that? I mean, does he do that to all of us? Ring our voicemails to analyse how we may have made mistakes on it?
Not only did they do a great job, but they did it so shoon.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text our show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
You know what we haven't talked about yet today? And we've talked about a wide-ranging...
Well, we've done Jake Thackeray. That's made my day.
He just said wide-ranging.
Yes.
I like that.
It was a slip of the tongue.
No, Shoon.
I'll get back to you, Shoon. Yeah,
no, Shoon, are we back on it?
Oh, people are so mean to Daisy about a voicemail now. We haven't discussed Tom Hardy's have-a-go hero status, which has been widely reported.
Before we go on to Tom Hardy, I'm on Tom Hardy, but...
and we all did.
But Sarah, who's the assistant, let's call her the AP, she mentioned...
She's not an app.
She mentioned Tom Hardy recently, and she called him Thomas Hardy.
No. She did?
Yeah.
Well, do you think he is the same one?
It never occurred to me. You know, this idiotic eureka moments that we have when the things that have never occurred to you that are obvious. It never occurred to me that Tom Hardy has got the same name as Thomas Hardy, the writer.
Yeah, yeah, he has.
Blew me away.
I think that's why he calls himself Tom rather than Thomas Hardy.
He could go Tommy, couldn't he? Tommy Hardy.
Tommy Hardy. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. There used to be a tradition in the Black Country where I grew up of calling people called Tom or Tommy would be called Tom or Tommy. Tommy.
That's the same. Oh.
Is that just an accent thing, or is it
There's a
tradition?
bloke called Tom Jones.
Oh, yes, I'm familiar with him.
No, not him.
Unusual.
It was a different one. And he was known as... He was called Tommy Jones.
It's Tommy Jones.
I just said Tommy Jones.
Right.
Yeah, strange. Just mention that.
I think that might just be an accent thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the same name, maybe, still.
I think so.
But it's Tommy. It's more like Tommy Jones.
Tommy Jones.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, Tom Hardy.
Thomas Hardy.
Yes.
The modern one.
Is he still living in the mill?
He chased down a motorcycle thief and caught him.
Yeah.
Did a bit of running down alleyways.
Have a go hero.
And I did. You remember ages ago we talked about things that we don't believe in.
What do you mean? Is he still living in the mill?
On the floss?
I think it was Thomas Hardy.
Yeah, it's a reference, yeah.
No, that wasn't Thomas Hardy.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
No, sorry.
I think it was.
I think you'll find
Who wrote it?
What? On the
Who
floss?
wrote it?
It's George Eliot.
She's Googling it.
Was it? I'm Googling it.
It was George Eliot. Don't bother Googling it, love.
I'm sorry I got it wrong.
Oh, what?
Is it my Descartes?
I mean, considering what you did with me about Cliveden, and now you've said that Thomas Hardy wrote me on the floss, I can't breathe. I'm having a panic attack. Sorry, carry on.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
I
he
should have referred
apprehended-
to the D'Urbervilles. Did he
Yes.
write that one?
He
He
did
did.
write Test of the D'Urbervilles, Far from the Madding Crowd.
Yes, I know Far
Oh,
from
right.
Madding
Jude
Crowd.
the Obscure.
I'm
Are we doing them
sorry.
all?
Two on a Tower.
I'm sorry about the mill.
Some poems.
Mary Casterbridge.
Bless
Oh,
you.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
It is. Anyway, he apprehended this baddie.
The
I'm going to
thief.
just call him a baddie. The motorcycle moped thief.
Yeah.
And he
He's a baddie.
performed a thing that I didn't believe in this until now.
Why?
The citizen's arrest.
Oh, yeah, he
He did
did.
a
He just
citizen's
apprehended
arrest.
him. And they used the word apprehended as well.
Love it.
I think, don't you just have to say, I arrest thee, I arrest thee, I arrest thee? And you're arrested. Or
Are you
is- I
thinking of
think-
Beetlejuice?
No, actually, I'm thinking of the 17th century form of divorce in the United Kingdom. You could just say, I divorce thee, I divorce thee, I divorce thee, and that was it. I
Three
think you can
times.
still some religions, you can still do it.
I mean, that is low on admin.
It was in
isn't it?
Richmond,
Oh,
apparently, as well, wasn't it?
It was in Richmond, yeah.
You don't even have to consult a registrar.
Brilliant.
No, and
He was in hot pursuit, very hot.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah. He was in hot
see,
pants.
it's all right.
That was
If
a
they
weird
say,
bit of
if
the
they
story.
say it, it's fine.
Hey, can we have a section on the show called You See It's All Right? I like that.
Yeah. It's all right when they say it. We can have that. I'll do that. I'll get a jingle. Victorian
Yes.
parlour song.
And I'll sing It's All Right.
It's all right when they say it. Sounded went a bit more spiritual.
I
It's
loved
work
it.
in progress.
He went through a back garden, Tom Hardy,
I've heard that.
which is very Sweeney. It's very chasing the
It is,
Sweeney,
isn't
which
it?
I like. You don't see that often these
Really,
days.
I hope they got to like a wire fence and
Yeah.
that one of them had to clamber up it.
Barking dog, perhaps. He had
what
to
about-
navigate the barking dog.
And the metal, they always get to those metal doors in alleys and try them and they're locked. You know
Yeah.
that? And best of all, if he's racing across rooftops and the gap between the two houses is a little bit wider than they would have liked, but they go for it anyway.
And you know what? They
Perfect.
make it.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom Hardy
Because
would
they're
make
like
it.
that.
Tom Hardy.
Is there a bit of nominative determinism in Tom Hardy's career as a hard man?
Oh, yes.
Tom Hardy, I mean, he's played Bronson,
Has
The
he got-
Craze.
Yes.
Has he got a sort of gentle librarian brother called Tom Softy? I'd love that. Would be brilliant. You know, Wild Bill Hickok had a brother called Tame Bill Hickok.
No.
It
Did
was
he?
Yeah, it was quite a sort of.
Every
know,
day's
what-
a school day on this show.
But why didn't that? See, if I'd have been around then, I
Yeah.
would have said no. Call him Mild Bill Hickok.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got the wild thing. But
What about-
people just dash off these
I've just
nicknames.
said you're a man
He
born in
dashed
the
off.
wrong era, Frank.
Yes, I should have been there when they nicknamed Wild Bill Hickok's brother. Everything would have worked better.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Okay, what were we talking about?
We were talking
Thomas
about
Hardy.
Thomas Hardy.
Oh, what about when I said the middle on the floss?
Oh, awful.
I said it's written by Thomas Hardy and it was George Eliot. And Frank corrected me and
Yeah.
I went, no.
The thing is, I was
can't
gonna-
move on.
I was going to let it go for your benefit, and it was nagging at me so much.
I
I
understand.
couldn't keep it. I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. I
Do you know
gotta
what?
let it out.
I'm glad you did it.
Are you?
Well, because it's out there now. Better out than in.
You're right.
But I
Yeah.
feel sick. Okay.
Anyway, there's been an enormous rush of bets on Tom Hardy. I'll give him the short name.
Tom Hardy.
Just to avoid confusion. I don't want people
Tom
thinking that
Tom
there's
Hardy
been
and Coke.
I don't.
That's how rumours start.
There's been a rush of bets on him to be the next James Bond, which I'd never thought of him as James Bond, and now apparently the
I
odds
do.
are like 6-4, whatever that means. So that means
It means that you
know,
put on
Well, I
6
tell
quid,
you what,
get 4
I'd
quid
like
back.
to see
That
him
sounds
coming out of the
rubbish.
sea. Oh, it's all right for you.
I don't think he's going to play Ursula Andress role.
Have you not seen
Well, that'd be a
Daniel Craig
Craig
coming
one.
out of the sea?
Yeah, although I think he might have the same problem that Frank has a problem with. I think
Which
he
is
might
what?
look too big in a suit. I don't think.
Oh, yes.
He does look too big. I don't know about Tom. I haven't seen Tom Hardy in a suit for a while.
Tamardi's good.
But I...
Sounds like an X Factor contestant. Tamardi!
He was a very good Bane.
Was he?
I liked him as Bane. He was terrifying in the Batman.
Oh,
film.
okay.
But he wasn't in a suit. Like so many super villains.
They don't wear suits, the
See,
villains.
no.
Some
he was-
kind of lycra.
He
They
was
wear a
wearing a
bodysuit.
sort of a... it looked like... You know that thing that Anthony Hopkins wears in Silence of the Lambs?
A straitjacket.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like an No,
a boiler suit. The mask. Right, yeah.
He wears like one of those with a lot of metal tubes on it.
Okay.
You know how people do. And
Yeah. Yeah, I've got one.
Batman's punching him on the metal mask, and I always think, Batman, you're going to regret that, mate. You get back to the cave.
That's time Batman's been called mate.
Ouchie, as my daughter would say.
What I'd really, really like to discover about the Tom Hardy thing is that the first name of the baddie that he chased was Jerry. Because there's one of the great classic chases ever.
Excellent.
I like to think that things will get knocked over, flower vases just being saved.
In the back garden.
A neighbour hit them with a frying pan,
and then you just see two feet in stripy socks.
In those big slippers, Frank.
Yeah. Let's leave it there.
Let's not go down
that cul-de-sac. Do you think he will be the next James Bond? Is that?
I think Daniel Craig will be the next James Bond.
Oh yeah,
hasn't he been offered?
I mean, the one.
I think he said, "I'm never doing it again," and then they pushed the money up.
Yeah, but we've all
done it, love.
Said that.
Yeah.
But here I am. It's great that you could get the James Bond role by literally RIL. Chasing somebody in the street.
Great use of RL, Frank. Congratulations.
Yes, I only learnt it this morning. Yeah. And I like to think I can get a minute.
I'm glad you picked it up.
I mean, it does bring the cynic out in me that is it IRL or is it what we call fake news?
You don't think they've staged?
I wonder.
Well, Tom Hardy said to an extra, can you steal a moped? I'll chase you. And then if I get the Bond thing, I'll give you 10
Of all the people in the world that might know an out-of-work stuntman that could just nick a moped and run through some back alleys.
Well, put it this way. His odds have been slashed.
Yeah.
From 6-1 outsider to 6-4 favourite.
Yeah.
Well, his tyres will be slashed in a minute.
You do the math.
Keeps upsetting the car crime fraternity. Anyway, we'll come back to it. No, I'll tell you.
Oh.
The modern actor now, the successful modern actor, they have to have incredible bods. And it didn't used to be like that, did it?
Yeah. No, you're so right. It's part of the deal. They've got to have it all now.
They have to look like, those food supplement models you see on the side of those big tubs of powder. They have to have body. It's a similar...
Actor has become a model's job.
Yes.
Whereas, back in the day, wasn't the case. Back in my day, dear.
No, Charles Hawtrey. Never considered for Bond.
Extreme.
Yeah, true.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, I was out at an event this week, and we were there together, Frank, weren't we?
We were. I was out at an event this week.
Yeah. I experienced slightly more of it.
I was out at an event. This would have been a very poor first draft of Spartacus.
All right, yeah.
We were both at the same event.
Oh, all right.
Which was
I see.
The opening of a new... it's a sort of bar, eatery,
hotel.
night spot / hotel.
Yeah, it's a flashy hotel.
Oh, a bar, eatery, night spot hotel. Yeah, I go to loads of those.
Yeah.
Loads. Not the openings. I usually wait until they've had a run at it.
We were invited by a friend of ours, and it was a bit hen night in the car on the way over there, would you say?
It was very... I said we should be in a stretch limo, because I was in the front. I was in the front, and
the driver.
And my partner and Emily and their friend was in the back, and they were absolutely... It was like they were hanging out the window with a bottle of wine saying, "Where you going, darling?" Now, that kind of...
Meanwhile, you're at the front eating in the driver's sandwiches, probably.
We may as well have had the Lamborghini out. I was putting makeup on. There was lots of discussion of, your hair looks nice.
I had a little glass of Tom Hardy of my own.
I'm having flashbacks to my train last
kept
night.
Saying occasionally, because I think she felt she wanted to include him in the hysteria at the back.
Oh, yeah.
And she'd say, "Don't you, Frank? Didn't you, Frank?" Every 2 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
Frank does that.
Like
nice
the proud mother.
Though.
It is like to be included in anything.
Yeah.
Well, not anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Except when she asked you what you thought of my hair, and you said, "Don't give me a hospital pass." Ouch. Ouchie. How about it looks nice? Lie.
Lovely. Yeah, just so lovely.
Yeah.
So it was one of those big, do's.
It was a big lavish do.
And Emily's hair.
Yes, it was. It's a lavish do.
A beehive. I like those. They're good.
It was
I love a
packed
beehive.
there. There were 2,000 people there.
Was it 2,000?
Yes, Frank.
Goodness me. That is a lot to fit into a bar, restaurant, nightclub.
It is. I think there might have been was there a bistro, or have I made that up?
There are about 5 restaurants, I think, possibly more.
I thought there was a bistro.
Well, the first part, we went...
What about if, let's say, who could it be? Ava Herzegovina.
Yeah.
Opened her own... You know, a lot of restaurants get opened by celebrities.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she opened a small place and called it Beauty and the Bistro.
Nice.
That'd be what? God, if you're listening, Ava, and you've probably already said I'm having that, it's fine. It's all yours.
I think she's part of the demographic that Absolute are after.
She is. She was the Hello Boys girl, wasn't she?
She was, yeah.
She
was. Superbra. Was it Wonder Bra?
Not Superbra, that's one of the superhero.
No, it wasn't Superbra.
He was a villain.
I think it's Superbra Week.
Superbra was played by Tom Hardy in Batman.
It was Wonder Bra, which is obviously a pun on Wunderbar, the German word.
Is it that obvious?
Oh. Do you know, that's an idiotic eureka moment. I never knew that.
I've always assumed that was the case.
Well, that's extraordinary.
Wunderbar. Wunderbra.
I know the song.
Well, that must be so.
You know, she once presented a Brit Award, and she just came on stage. I must have told you about this. It was one of those moments when. She was presenting a Brit Award, Ava Herzegovina. As I say, the Wonder Bra girl, and she got up and she didn't do any speech. She just opened an envelope and went, "Smashing pumpkins," and I shouted, "Hear, hear." Nothing, absolutely nothing.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
So anyway, we were talking about this party that Frank and I attended.
Yeah.
And, well, there are a few of us there.
I mean, I'll scroll through my texts, but I don't remember my invite.
One of the...
I didn't get any. I was a plus.
We were plus... me, you and Catherine were +3, essentially.
We were +3, yeah.
Nothing funny going on. But that's
I don't get invited to those kind of... It was very cool. I think I was the only man in the room in socks. It was that kind of party.
Bare feet or
no? You know, a lot of the cool people now they've given up on the socks.
Let's call it.
If there's any cool people listening, I'll have your socks if you don't want them.
Well, I've told you, we call it the hipster injury, the blister. Now,
do they get blisters?
Yeah. Well, because they don't wear socks, so it's the hipster injury. Now we were descended into the vault. Because was it a former bank, I believe?
No, I think I don't know what it was, but there's a proper vault with a big thick door, like Fort Knox.
With a safe, yeah.
Like Fort Knox.
Yeah, you know Fort Knox. Yeah.
Just compared anything to
Frank
Fort
made
Knox
a beeline for Stanley Tucci, one of his faves, those two, getting on like a house on fire.
He's a nice man, Stanley Tucci.
Eddie Redmayne, you chatted with Frank?
Well, I chatted.
Oh, what did you say?
Said hello.
Okay.
You didn't discuss
They were all there.
James Bond odds with Eddie Redmayne. He might have some inside info, mightn't he?
You think he couldn't be a James Bond? Could he's not that kind of... He's the sort of English, you know, slightly see-through English male actor.
Yeah, he could be either in The Office or a baddie, maybe.
Yeah, you want him in some English country house in the 1920s, being beautiful. Whereas Tom Hardy's going to come in through the wall.
Yeah.
And he's anyway
some kind of gear.
Friendly though.
Yeah, well, we sat down and we had a bit of an embarrassing moment. I'm afraid we got bumped from our table.
Oh, no.
But then I saw who we were bumped for and I thought, that's okay. It was the Earl, I think it's called Earl of Snowdon. He was Viscount Linley.
Earl Snowdon.
Is it Earl Snowdon?
Changed his name?
Yeah,
yeah, but he was with Xander Armstrong.
Hang on.
My colleague on Damab.
My colleague.
I'm more interested in this guy changing his name from, what is it, Viscount to Earl?
Viscount Linley, yes.
Signing
Lord
on.
Snowdon, I think it is as well, isn't it? Is Lord Earl? I don't understand.
Oh, I don't know.
I remember Earl is highest of the Lord.
I remember
Earl's highest.
Did he have any Ferrero Rocher?
Duke of Earl. Prince of Bel-Air, is he? Is that what he is now?
Yeah.
No. Hey, listen, but the big moment for us was Dynamo.
Yes, Dynamo came over.
Dynamo was there.
And when I say he came over,
Magic.
I mean we had at least 15 to 20.
No, but the build-up, Dynamo said to me, I listened to you on the radio the week, and you said you'd met me, and I was the first magician you'd ever met who didn't do a trick, which is true.
That is true.
They cannot. You know, when I meet people, I tend not to do any stand-up.
Right.
But I don't need to.
Yeah.
But But magicians,
They always
if you
do.
can,
Yeah.
you know, you just want to once you've
and
learnt the trick.
I couldn't believe that he hadn't done any magic when you told me that.
I know.
Well, he
'Cause
more
I've
than
met
made up for
magicians
it
and they all
the
do.
other night, didn't he, Frank?
Oh man, he did a great job.
He did so many tricks on us.
But,
Did he?
He did-
really brilliant.
I mean, there was
Yeah, yeah.
one. He managed to make 2p disappear.
2p?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
you
like
would
the
have been
sound of this.
devastated.
yeah.
My thoughts were with you when
I
that
hope
happened.
a pound reappeared, otherwise I'd be furious.
Yes, he did. He did.
He made me put a jack of spades in my mouth.
What?
Yeah. There was a card, and then he put a card in his mouth.
Well, what he did is Emily had to sign a card,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then she put it in her mouth, so he could
Yeah.
see it in her mouth, and then he signed one and put it in his mouth, and then they went really close to each other, but didn't touch. It was a bit of a
Oh, he's a married
strange
man.
moment,
Was it?
and yes,
For you,
and,
maybe.
and then he took the card out of his mouth, and it was signed by Emily, and she took the one out of hers, and it was signed by him.
Amazing.
It was. I have Kath, who's the least impressed person by magic in the world. This is my partner. Was really gobsmacked by the whole thing, and it's interesting because I find when I've seen a magician and if they're any good, I sort of am so excited that when I look back, I'm remembering even more amazing things that I'm not even sure they. I seem to remember him taking a fully grown turkey from behind my ear. I don't know if that actually happened.
Sounds good.
But you get. It was so exciting. I just get really giggly and excited, like
Yeah.
I'm round an attractive woman. That
Yeah.
kind of, you know. It was amazing. Respect.
Thank you, Dynamo. He's a new friend of the show.
I'm
He'll be
officially well,
listening.
Gel.
But I was talking about him in my partner's gymnasium yesterday, and because a woman there now.
You've got mention-itis. Dynamo this, Dynamo
And
that.
the woman said, I think he has. He did a thing here. He did a trick. She said, I think he actually has got magical power. And that was a bit hashtag orcs. I mean, where do you go from there? Well, he's very good. She said, no, but I mean actual magical powers. She wouldn't let it drop.
Yeah.
I had to do a mock feint. And I really caught my elbow on a chair on the way down. Oh,
Tricky that.
of course, every feint is a mock feint, as we know.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what I thought about Dynamo. He's a small, sort of slight man,
Yes, he is. Yeah.
as was Paul Daniels,
Yeah.
small, slight man.
Yeah.
Penn and Teller, who's not, one of them's quite a big man.
Yes.
Penn, but Teller,
Is he
again,
a
a small,
slight man? Yeah.
I think these are people they've got. They've got a bit more room in their sleeves
Oh, yeah.
than your average person.
Yes,
And are you
that's
thinking,
true.
now that you've been, as they would have said in olden times, reducing, now that you've reduced quite a bit, are you thinking
Yeah.
maybe you've got some magical powers
It's too
because there's
late
more
for-
room in
it's too
yours?
late for me. I accept that.
But hang on,
Really?
haven't they got magical powers?
I know, but some of the things they have to learn, you know.
Oh, it's all learned. I thought they just
Yes,
had magical.
no, they
Oh,
don't have magical.
No, they don't have
I've
actual
made a-
magic powers.
I've made a terrible
Penn
mistake.
of Penn and Teller. I mean, his sleeves are fully occupied.
Not as much as they used to be, I believe. I
Really?
Think he might have,
They look fairly, yeah.
I think he might have lost a load.
I can't see any card space in his sleeves.
I think he lost a load.
I bet Teller, if there's any,
Yeah.
I'll say you better do this.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
sleeves are busy.
Well, it's nice that they've got those options
Yeah.
It is
with
yeah.
each other.
But I bet that's why they're a double act. Because Penn probably a brilliant magician, and I thought, well, you know, what am I going to do for sleep? I could wear a wizard,
Yeah.
wizard gown.
And, you know, everyone
I
knows
think-
what you're up to.
Might
I
then.
give
think
the
he'd
element
just-
of surprise away.
I think
yeah.
his bingo wings would have just been, you know, the ingredients settle in a cereal packet.
Oh, yeah.
I think his arms would have just,
Yeah.
they'd have filled the wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing in the top
And that's
part.
what I love about Dynamo is he favours quite a casual attire. There's no waistcoat with Dynamo
No,
with lightning flashes on it.
No.
Sparkles.
T-shirt and a jacket, was it?
There's no
That was-
down,
Not even
down,
that.
down, down,
What,
down
shirt-
music.
and
Oh,
He's a thoroughly modern magician,
yes.
and I love that. So after you left, Frank,
Yes,
Party started.
I went obviously at 10:30. I mean,
You were out of there.
I'm not used to being.
What I love about
upright
Kath
for
as
that
well
long.
is she says, right, we're going. And then someone will walk towards you and she'll go, oh, God, because you know it's going to be another 20 mins.
Well, there was, if you meet someone you really want to talk
I know.
to.
I know,
you
but
wanna-
I
you
feel
gotta
her
talk.
pain is what I'm saying. It's
Yes.
hard. So we stayed a bit longer than you.
Yeah,
Went
well,
back down to
I
the
wouldn't
vaults.
expect that. Everybody
The-
stays longer than me.
The music started. Gareth Malone, is it?
Oh, yes.
And
He
singing
appeared
teacher.
from nowhere.
The man of choir fame.
Suddenly he appears.
Oh.
There's a flash mob
No.
of a choir. They all jump on the bar. They start doing a sing-along of Hey Jude. Richard Curtis was enjoying himself.
Now, can I say, there was a sort of a programme for the evening which included the lyrics to Hey Jude, which slightly undermines the flash mob
Right.
thing, doesn't it? Is the idea of the flash...
I was downstairs, so I just walked
And of course,
up.
there'll be loads of people thinking, oh my God, Paul McCartney's going to turn up. There'll be a bunch of people who've never seen, they're going to think, oh.
But they were all wearing black T-shirts, and I didn't know because we walked in late. We were downstairs, and we
Sure, it
walked
wasn't
in.
an East European puppet troupe.
Well, these people in black T-shirts started shouting "Hey Jude" at us, and I thought, what's going on? Then Tiny Temper jumped on the bar.
Tiny Temper was there.
He was there.
He could
was
have been
singing.
a magician.
Gary Barlow.
Yeah.
He jumped on the bar, start singing.
Gary Barlow.
Paloma Faith.
Wow, the bar was...
The bar was
Packed.
pumping.
Bar was full of stars.
Yeah.
Stars and bars.
Yeah.
That's what they should have called the evening.
Well, I left mid-temper, I think.
Mid-temper, you often do.
Furious.
You often do.
You stormed out.
We'll come back.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, we had a weird... I did this... we were talking about earlier, Damn Ab. This live show that people vote on. One of the questions this week was, do you think that the government should be able to say how many children people can have?
Oh, yes.
I said the only problem with this is everyone's going to say no. Surely it's going to be like 80%. So it did win. It was 52 versus 48.
No.
Yes,
What weirdly high
Surprising.
numbers.
I know.
Yeah. Look forward to hearing those stats when they do Damn Ab in China.
Well, China have gone up. This is what the story came from. China
Yeah.
have gone up to 2 kids now. You can have.
Double bubble.
Yeah.
As they say.
Well, they
Yes,
also said, would you would you call in sick with a hangover or something to work?
Outrageous.
And Daisy, producer, texted me back, absolutely unacceptable.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
But I
But
think
she's put us off the scent that way.
I wondered.
I
If,
know that one, Frank. Absolutely not.
I wondered if with the Brexit thing that maybe now limiting the number of children is just another form of border control.
Yes.
Stop them coming in or out.
Maybe. Yeah.
They come in or come out.
I think they come out.
It's different, isn't it? But if
It
if
is
your child,
different.
if you work in customs, you'd probably say, "Oh, my child's coming in today."
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you see the nurse put the rubber gloves on. Say, "No, I don't think he'll be carrying anything."
I love being in your mind sometimes. What about when Nancy Delolio turned up at this party?
What?
Oh
Did you
yes,
see,
I
did you
saw.
see her, Frank?
I saw
Was at the party?
Delolio. Yes.
Yeah, just a quick
Everyone was
thought I'd
there.
mention. I love a Delolio sighting.
I don't imagine she did any singing and dancing on the bar.
She's got other fish to fry.
She was part of the catering. Never knew that.
I know.
Oh.
She does a fabulous paella. Where's she from? Is she Italian?
Yeah.
Well, it won't be paella, though. What are you talking about?
Risotto.
All right, I'm just throwing it in.
Let's go risotto.
Yeah, let's
Is that
go.
Italian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. If you've learnt nothing else today, risotto, it turns out, is Italian.
It's been quite a lot of rice references.
And George Eliot wrote Mill on the Floor.
Yes, there you go. So I like to think it's always good after any experience to think, what have I learnt from this?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Thank you so much for listening this morning. I always appreciate it. And bring on the feathers.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.